And today, we're going to take it apart piece by piece to understand what really makes a diamond cost a fortune. This is the deep dive you've been waiting for. By the end of this video, you'll see diamonds in a completely new light. We'll explore everything from their violent birth deep within the earth to the corporate boardrooms that decide their fate and the marketing genius that made them essential. We're going to look at the facts, the history, and the market forces at play. It's a pretty wild story. So, stick around. This is going to be a good one. And hey, while you're here, don't forget to subscribe and share the Gemstone Academy YouTube channel. Let's get into it. Alright, so first things first, let's talk about where these things actually come from. It's not like you can just find them lying around. The journey of a natural diamond begins deep, and I mean inside the earth. We're talking about 150 to 200 kilometers down in the mantle. The conditions there are absolutely insane. The pressure is over 50,000 times greater than what we experience at the surface, and temperatures exceed 1,000 degrees Celsius. It's in this intense, high-pressure, high-temperature environment that carbon atoms are forced together over billions of years, slowly crystallizing into the diamond structure we know. It's a process that takes an incredible amount of time and very specific geological conditions. So you have these diamonds formed over eons, trapped in the Earth's mantle. How do they get to us? They're brought to the surface through incredibly rare and violent volcanic eruptions known as kimberlite eruptions. These eruptions act like a geological elevator, rapidly carrying diamond-bearing rock, or kimberlite, from the mantle to the crust in a matter of hours. If the journey is too slow, the diamonds would simply turn back into graphite. Finding these kimberlite pipes is the first challenge for miners, and it's like finding a needle in a haystack. Then comes the actual extraction, which is a massive, expensive, and environmentally taxing operation, often requiring moving tons of earth just to recover a few carats of rough diamonds. This inherent natural rarity and the sheer difficulty of getting them out of the ground form the very first layer of a diamond's high cost. Now, natural rarity is one thing, but it's not the whole story, not even close. For much of the 20th century, the diamond market wasn't just shaped by geology. It was meticulously controlled by one company, De Beers. In the late 1800s, huge diamond deposits were discovered in South Africa, which could have flooded the market and made diamonds much more common and affordable. But a businessman named Cecil Rhodes stepped in, consolidated all the competing mines, and formed De Beers Consolidated Mines. Their goal was simple: control the entire global supply of diamonds to control the price. And for decades, they were incredibly successful at it. De Beers created what is essentially a textbook monopoly, or a cartel. They bought up diamonds from mines all over the world, in Russia, Australia, Botswana, and stockpiled them. They would then release only a carefully calculated number of diamonds to the market each year, creating an illusion of extreme scarcity. This wasn't about how many diamonds were being mined, it was about how many De Beers the public to have access to. By controlling the supply spigot, they could ensure that prices remained stable and, more importantly, consistently high. This strategy fundamentally transformed the diamond from a semi-precious stone into a rare luxury good, setting the stage for its price to be dictated not by nature, but by a boardroom. So you have this naturally rare gem, and its supply is being artificially restricted. That's a powerful combination. But the third piece of the puzzle is arguably the most brilliant: marketing. How do you convince the world that this specific stone is the ultimate symbol of love and commitment? You hire an advertising agency. In 1947, a young copywriter for N.W. Ayer named Francis Garrity coined a four-word slogan that would change everything: "A diamond is forever." This wasn't just a tagline, it was a masterstroke of psychological marketing. It linked the diamond's physical durability with the emotional concept of eternal love. This campaign was revolutionary. De Beers didn't just sell diamonds, they sold an idea. They ran ads that established the tradition of the diamond engagement ring, even suggesting the right amount to spend, the infamous 2-month salary rule. They strategically placed diamonds on Hollywood movie stars, gifted them to royalty, and featured them in magazines, relentlessly associating them with glamour, romance, and high status. This marketing blitz created a cultural tradition out of thin air. It made people feel that a proposal wasn't truly complete without a diamond. The perceived value skyrocketed because the emotional value became priceless. We weren't just buying a stone anymore. We were buying a piece of a forever love story. Okay, so if you're going to sell something for thousands of dollars, you need a system to justify the price variations. You need a language to explain why diamond is more expensive than one. This is where the 4 C's come in: cut, color, clarity, and carat weight. This grading system was developed and standardized by the Gemological Institute of America, or GIA, in the mid-20th century, and it gave the industry a seemingly objective framework for valuing each individual stone. Carat is simple, it's the weight, and bigger is usually more expensive. Clarity refers to the absence of internal flaws or inclusions, and the fewer the flaws, the higher the price. Color is graded on a scale from D, which is colorless, to Z, which is light yellow or brown, with the completely colorless diamonds being the rarest and most valuable. And then there's cut, which isn't about the shape, but about how well the diamond's facets interact with light. A well-cut diamond will have incredible brilliance and sparkle. While these factors sound scientific, there's actually a huge amount of subjectivity involved, especially in cut and clarity. The difference between a VVS1 and a VVS2 clarity grade, for example, is invisible to the naked eye, yet it can mean thousands of dollars in price difference. The 4 C's created a complex, expert-driven system that adds a layer of mystique and justification for the high prices, making consumers feel like they're paying for tangible, gradable qualities. Let's be honest, buying a diamond is rarely a purely logical decision. It's almost always an emotional one. And this is a huge factor in why they can be so expensive. When you're buying an engagement ring, you're not just comparing specs and prices like you would for a new TV or a laptop. You're caught up in a major life moment, a proposal, an anniversary. You're thinking about love, commitment, and the future. This emotional state makes buyers what economists call price insensitive. The fear of seeming cheap or not valuing the relationship enough often outweighs the desire to get the best deal. This is amplified by immense social pressure. We see our friends getting engaged with beautiful rings on social media. We see it in movies and advertisements. There's an expectation that has been built up over generations. This creates a feedback loop. People buy diamonds because it's the expected thing to do, which reinforces the tradition and keeps demand high. The diamond industry has masterfully positioned its product outside the realm of normal consumer goods. It's not a commodity, it's a milestone. And when something is tied so deeply to our emotions and social standing, the price tag becomes a secondary consideration for many. The price you pay for a diamond in a store is the result of a long and costly journey, with markups added at every single step. It starts at the mine, which sells the rough diamonds to a site holder or a large diamond dealer. That's the first markup. This dealer then sells smaller parcels of those rough diamonds to cutters and polishers around the world, in places like Antwerp, Tel Aviv, or Surat, India. That's the second markup. The cutters, who are highly skilled artisans, then cut and polish the rough stone, a process where up to 50% of the original carat weight can be lost. They then sell the finished polished diamond to a jewelry manufacturer or a wholesaler, the third markup. The wholesaler then sells it to a retail jewelry store, which is the fourth markup. And finally, the retail store sells it to you, adding its own significant markup to cover rent, staff, marketing, and profit. On top of all that, you have additional costs layered in. Getting a diamond certified by a lab like GIA costs money. And if the diamond is set in a ring from a famous luxury brand like Tiffany & Company or Cartier, you're paying a huge premium for the brand name and the little blue box it comes in. Each step adds value, but it also adds cost, causing the final price to be many times higher than the value of the stone when it first came out of the ground. So for the longest time, the natural diamond market has been this well-oiled, tightly controlled machine. But now, there's a major disruptor in the game lab-grown diamonds. These are not fakes or imitations like cubic zirconia. They are chemically, physically, and optically identical to natural diamonds. They have the same crystal structure, the same hardness, the same brilliance. The only difference is their origin story. One was formed in the Earth's mantle over billions of years, and the other was grown in a high-tech lab over a few weeks using processes that replicate those same high-pressure, high-temperature conditions. You'd think this would cause the price of all diamonds to plummet, right? Well, it's more complicated than that. Lab-grown diamonds are significantly cheaper, often 30 to 50% less than a natural diamond of the same size and quality. This is forcing the market to shift. However, the natural diamond industry, led again by De Beers and others, is fighting back by heavily marketing the concepts of rarity, authenticity, and heritage. They're positioning natural diamonds as one-of-a-kind miracles of nature, and lab-grown diamonds as a manufactured product. This creates a two-tiered market where natural diamonds maintain a higher price point due to their perceived exclusivity and the powerful century-old story that comes with them. The final piece of the pricing puzzle is good old global supply and demand. While the supply of natural diamonds is relatively fixed and, as we've discussed, historically controlled, the demand side of the equation has been changing dramatically. For decades, the United States was the dominant market for diamond jewelry, but in the 21st century, that's no longer the case. We're seeing a massive surge in demand from emerging economies, particularly China and India. As the middle and upper classes in these countries grow, so does their disposable income and their appetite for luxury goods. This new wave of consumers is adopting the Western tradition of diamond engagement rings and embracing diamonds as a symbol of wealth and status. A wedding market of hundreds of millions of people in China and India creates a colossal new source of demand that simply didn't exist 30 or 40 years ago. This puts significant upward pressure on the prices of natural diamonds. When you have a relatively finite supply, even with the historical controls loosening a bit and a rapidly expanding pool of buyers, basic economics dictates that prices are going to go up. This global demand ensures that even with the challenges from lab-grown stones, the market for natural diamonds remains incredibly strong. So, as you can see, the price of a diamond isn't just about one thing. It's a complex, four-sided story. On one side, you have the genuine geological rarity and the immense challenge of pulling these stones from the earth. On the second side, you have a century of shrewd market control by a cartel that perfected the art of creating artificial scarcity. The third side is the sheer power of marketing, a campaign so successful it literally invented a tradition and embedded itself into our culture, tying the stone to our deepest emotions of love and commitment. And the final side is us. It's our own psychology, our emotional responses, and our societal pressures that make us willing to pay the price. It's a powerful combination of forces: rarity, control, marketing, and emotion, all working together to make this one particular form of crystallized carbon one of the most expensive and sought-after materials on the planet. The rise of lab-grown alternatives and shifting global markets are adding new chapters to this story, but the fundamental reasons for the high cost of natural diamonds remain deeply entrenched. It's a fascinating intersection of science, business, and culture. What do you think? Is the price justified? Or is it the result of the greatest marketing play of all time? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. I'll be reading through them. Thanks for sticking around for this deep dive. And of course, don't forget to subscribe and share the Gemstone Academy YouTube channel for more. We'll see you in the next one.